Queen Vexithera stood on the bridge of her flagship, looking out at the stars. Her tall body cast a dark shadow across the metal floor. She was 12 feet tall, covered in black armor that looked like glass. Her forearms moved slowly as she touched the control panels. Behind her, dozens of alien soldiers worked at their stations. The Queen had ruled the Zephyrian Empire for 300 years. In that time she had conquered 17 star systems. Every planet that had tried to fight her was now under her control. Every species that had stood against her was now her slave. "My Queen," said General Kethvar, walking up to her. He was shorter than the Queen, but still huge by most standards. His voice was deep and rough. "We have reached the edge of the Sol system." The Queen turned her head. Her eyes glowed with a soft blue light. "What do our scouts tell us about this system?" "There is one inhabited planet, my Queen. The species calls itself human. They have basic space travel, but nothing that could threaten us. Our ships are much faster and stronger than theirs." Queen Vexithara smiled. It was not a kind smile. "How many humans are there?" "About 8 billion on their home planet. They have some small bases on other planets in their system, but nothing important." The Queen walked to the main screen. It showed a yellow star with several planets around it. The third planet from the star glowed blue and green. "So few," she said softly. "And so primitive. This will be over quickly." She had said the same words many times before. The Drakmori had thought they could fight her with their crystal weapons. They lasted 2 weeks. The Velkans had tried to hide in their underground cities. It took her 1 month to find them all. The Horatians had actually managed to destroy a few of her smaller ships. They held out for almost 3 months, but humans, from what she could see, they would be the easiest conquest yet. "Begin the attack," she ordered. The Zephyrian fleet moved forward. 200 ships, each one the size of a city. Their hulls were made of a special metal that could repair itself. Their weapons could destroy a moon. The Queen's own ship was the largest, with enough firepower to crack a planet. Within hours, they reached the outer edge of the human solar system. The first human ships came to meet them. They were tiny compared to the Zephyrian vessels. Their weapons were simple lasers and missiles. The Queen almost felt sorry for them. Almost. The battle lasted 30 minutes. The human ships exploded one by one. Some tried to run. Others kept fighting even when they had no chance. The Queen watched it all without emotion. She had seen this many times before. "My Queen," reported one of her officers, "we are picking up radio signals from the human planet. Let me hear them." The bridge filled with the sound of human voices. They spoke in different languages, but the Queen's computers translated them all. Most of the voices were afraid. Some were angry, some were crying. But then the Queen heard something strange. Among all the fear and panic, she heard one name being said over and over again. "Marcus Chen. We need to contact Marcus Chen." "Where is Chen?" "Someone find Chen!" "If anyone can stop them, it's Major Chen." The Queen frowned. Who was this Marcus Chen? She listened more carefully. The humans seemed to think this one person could help them against her entire fleet. "General Kethvar," she called. "Yes, my Queen?" "Run a scan for any unusual human ships or weapons. Also, search their communications for information about someone called Marcus Chen." The general looked confused but obeyed. After a few minutes he returned. "My Queen, I found some strange things. The humans have been talking about this Marcus Chen for hours. From what I can understand, he is some kind of soldier." "Just one soldier? Why are they so focused on one person?" "I do not know, my Queen, but there are many stories about him. The humans seem to think he has fought other alien races before." Queen Vexithara laughed. It was a cold sound that made her soldiers step back. "Other alien races? What other alien races? We are the first to find this system." But even as she said it, she felt a small doubt. Her empire was large, but the galaxy was larger. There could be other space-traveling species that she had not met yet. Still, what could one human do against her fleet? "Continue the attack," she ordered. "Move toward their home planet. I want this finished by tomorrow." As her ships moved deeper into the human system, the Queen kept listening to their radio signals. The name Marcus Chen came up again and again. Some humans seemed to know him personally. Others only knew stories about him. Chen once held off an entire alien fleet by himself. Chen knows how they think. He studies them. If Chen is coming, we might have a chance. The Queen began to feel annoyed. These humans were acting like this one person could save them all. It was impossible. She had fought many species. Some had great warriors. Some had brilliant generals. None of them had been able to stop her, but as the hours passed, more strange reports came in. Her scout ships near the outer planets had stopped responding. When she sent ships to check on them, they found the scouts floating in space completely undamaged but with their crews unconscious. "What happened to them?" she demanded. "We do not know, my queen. The crews are alive, but they will not wake up. It is as if something frightened them so badly that their minds shut down." Queen Vexithera felt the first touch of unease. In 300 years of conquest, she had never seen anything like this. Her soldiers were brave and strong. What could scare them so badly? "My queen," called another officer. "We are receiving a transmission from one of our forward ships. They say they are under attack." "By what? Human ships?" "No, my queen, they say it is just one small fighter. But somehow it is destroying our attack formation." The queen moved to the communications panel. "Put me through to the ship." Static filled the air, then a panicked voice spoke. "My queen, we need help! There is a human fighter here, but it moves like it knows what we are going to do before we do it. It has already destroyed 6 of our ships." "6 ships? How is that possible?" "I do not know. It is like the pilot can read our minds. He knows where we will fire before we aim our weapons." The transmission suddenly went quiet. "Ship 774 respond," the queen ordered. Silence. The queen stood very still. Around her, the bridge had become quiet. Her soldiers were looking at each other with worry in their eyes. "My queen," whispered General Kethvar, "should we slow our advance?" Queen Vexthara's 4 hands closed into fists. She had never retreated from anything in her life. She would not start now, especially not because of stories about one human. "No," she said firmly. "Continue toward their planet. Double our patrols, and find out everything you can about this Marcus Chen." But even as she gave the orders, the queen felt something she had not felt in centuries. For the first time since she was young, Queen Vexithara was not completely sure she would win this battle. The name Marcus Chen echoed in her mind like a warning she could not ignore. General Kethvar worked through the night, trying to find information about the human called Marcus Chen. His computers captured every radio signal, every data transmission, every piece of electronic communication from the human planet. What he found made him more and more confused. The stories about Marcus Chen were everywhere. They came from different parts of the human planet, from different groups of humans, and they all told similar tales, but they were tales that seemed impossible. "My queen," he said when he brought his report to her, "I have found much information about this human, but I do not understand it." Queen Vexithera was standing in her private chamber, looking at star maps. She turned to face him. "Tell me what you learned." According to human records, Major Marcus Chen is 35 years old. He was born on their planet in a place called California. He joined their military when he was 18. For the past 10 years, he has been part of something called the Earth Defense Force. That sounds normal enough. "Yes, my queen. But the strange part is what he has supposedly done. The humans have detailed records of alien attacks on their system. Not attacks by us, but by other species." The queen's eyes glowed brighter. "Other species?" "Yes, my queen. According to their records, their system has been attacked at least 5 times in the past 10 years. Each time, this Marcus Chen was involved in stopping the attacks. General Kethvar activated a small screen and showed the queen what he had found. 3 years ago, something called the Korthak Swarm attacked their outer colonies. The records say it was a collection of bioships controlled by a single mind. The swarm had billions of ships, and what happened? Marcus Chen led a single small ship into the center of the swarm. Somehow he found and destroyed the queen creature that controlled all the other ships. When the queen died, all the bioships stopped working. Queen Vexthera frowned. "1 ship against billions? That is impossible." "There is more, my queen. 2 years ago, their system was attacked by something called the Andromedan Machine Collective. According to the records, these were artificial intelligences with computing power far beyond anything the humans possessed. What happened to them? Marcus Chen somehow caused their computer systems to create a logical loop that shut down their entire network. The machines all stopped working at the same time." The queen walked to her window, looking out at the stars. "These stories are clearly false. The humans are trying to scare us with tales of their hero." But General Kethvar continued, "My queen, there is video evidence. Security footage from space stations, recorded communications, even alien technology that the humans captured. If these stories are false, the humans have created very detailed lies." He showed her more files, battle footage that showed a single human fighter moving through space in ways that seemed impossible. Communications records where other alien species mentioned a human called Chen, with fear in their voices, pieces of alien technology that had been studied and understood in ways that should have taken decades. "There is something else, my queen," the general said quietly. "I intercepted a message from a Korthak survivor ship that was hiding in the outer part of this galaxy. When they detected our fleet moving toward the Sol system, they sent a warning to any Korthak ships in the area." "What did the warning say?" "It said, do not approach the human system. The one called Chen still lives there. He knows our weaknesses. He knows how we think. Stay away." Queen Vexthera was quiet for a long time. Around her ship, she could feel the fear of her crew growing. They had all heard the stories now. Some of her soldiers were starting to whisper about the strange human who could defeat any alien force. "My queen," came a voice from the bridge communications. "We have lost contact with 3 more scout groups." The queen and general rushed to the bridge. The main screen showed their fleet's positions. Red marks indicated where ships had gone silent. "What happened to them?" the queen demanded. "We do not know, my queen. They were investigating the human colonies on the outer planets. They reported that they had found the colonies empty. Then their communications stopped. Send a recovery team to find them." "We did, my queen." The recovery team found the ships floating in space. All the crews were alive but unconscious. They had the same condition as our other scouts. Queen Vexthera studied the pattern of lost ships on the screen. They formed a rough circle around the human home planet. It was as if something was moving around her fleet, striking quickly and then disappearing. "My queen," said one of her communications officers, "we are receiving a transmission from the human planet. It is directed at us. Put it through." The bridge filled with the sound of a human voice. It spoke in the human language called English, but the Queen's computers translated it immediately. "Zephyrian Fleet, this is Earth Defense Command. We know you have been capturing our outer colonies. We also know you have been listening to our communications. You should know that Major Marcus Chen has been deployed to defend this system. We suggest you reconsider your attack." General Kethavar looked at the Queen. "Should we respond?" Before the Queen could answer, another voice came through the communication system. This voice was different, calmer, more controlled. "Zephyrian Fleet, this is Major Marcus Chen, Earth Defense Force. I know you think we are weak. I know you think this will be easy." Other alien species thought the same thing. You can ask them how that worked out for them. The Queen stepped forward. "Human, I am Queen Vexthera of the Zephyrian Empire. I have conquered 17 star systems. Your species will surrender or be destroyed." There was a pause. Then Marcus Chen spoke again. "I know who you are, Queen Vexthera. I have been studying your empire for 6 months. I know about your victories over the Drakmori, the Velkans, and the Horatians. I know about your weapons, your tactics, and your weaknesses." "Weaknesses?" The Queen laughed. "I have no weaknesses, human. Everyone has weaknesses. The Drakmori thought their crystal shields made them invincible. The Velkans thought hiding underground would save them. The Horatians thought their speed was enough. They were all wrong. And you think you can succeed where they failed?" Marcus Chen's voice remained calm. "I don't think, Queen Vexthera, I know. Because unlike them, I had time to prepare. I had time to study you. I had time to learn everything about your species, your culture, your history, and your military." The Queen felt a chill run through her body. There was something in the human's voice. Not fear, not anger, but confidence. "Complete, absolute confidence. You have one chance," Marcus Chen continued. "Leave this system now, and you can return to your empire with your fleet intact. Stay and I will show you why 16 different alien species have added my name to their threat databases." The communication ended. The bridge was completely silent. Queen Vexthera looked around at her crew. For the first time in 300 years, she saw doubt in their eyes. "My queen," whispered General Kethavar, "what are your orders?" Queen Vexthera stood very straight. She was a conqueror. She was the ruler of an empire. She would not be threatened by one human, no matter how many impossible stories surrounded him. "Continue the attack," she ordered. "I want to meet this Marcus Chen myself." The Zephyrian fleet approached Earth's moon like a storm of metal and death. Queen Vexthera had decided to lead the final assault herself. Her flagship, surrounded by 50 of her best warships, moved toward the last major human defense station. The moon base looked small and weak compared to her fleet. It was built into the surface of the moon, with only a few weapon towers visible above ground. According to her scans, maybe 1,000 humans were inside. Against her 50 ships, it should have been over in minutes. Begin the attack, Queen Vexithara ordered. Her ships spread out in perfect formation. They had used this same pattern to destroy space stations across 17 star systems. The outer ships would attack first, drawing defensive fire. Then her flagship would move in with its massive weapons and finish the job. The human base opened fire as expected. Their weapons were basic compared to Zephyrian technology, laser beams and missiles that her shields easily absorbed. The Queen smiled as she watched her ships move closer. Then something strange happened. One of her ships suddenly exploded. There had been no warning, no incoming missile that her sensors could detect. It was there one moment, gone the next. Report, she commanded. Unknown, my queen. Ship 47 just exploded. We detected no human weapons fire in that area. Before anyone could respond, 2 more ships vanished in balls of fire, then 3 more. The Queen watched in shock as her perfect attack formation fell apart. What is happening? She demanded. My queen, there is a single human fighter moving through our formation. It appears to be using our own ships as cover. The main screen zoomed in on a small human spacecraft. It was nothing special to look at. A basic fighter with simple weapons. But as the Queen watched, it moved through her fleet like it was dancing. It would appear behind one of her ships, fire a quick burst, then disappear before her other ships could respond. How is it moving like that? General Kethvar asked. It should not be able to avoid our sensors. The Queen studied the fighter's movement pattern. The pilot was not just fast. He was predicting where her ships would be before they got there. Every time her ships tried to surround the fighter, it was already gone, as if the pilot knew what they were planning. My queen, called her communications officer. The human fighter is transmitting. Let me hear it. A calm voice filled the bridge. Zephyrian fleet, this is Major Marcus Chen. You are in violation of Sol System sovereignty. Withdraw immediately or face consequences. Queen Vexithara stepped forward. Her massive form cast shadows across the bridge. Her voice carried all the power and authority of 3 centuries of conquest. Human insect, I am Queen Vexithara of the Zephyrian Empire. I have personally destroyed worlds. I have enslaved entire species. Your pathetic planet will burn, and your people will serve me until the end of time. There was a pause. Then Marcus Chen spoke again, and his voice was still completely calm. I know who you are, Queen Vexithara. Born on Zephyr Prime, daughter of King Morthvan, trained in the old combat forms of your people. You killed your own brother to take the throne. You conquered your first world when you were 60 years old. You believe that fear is the most effective tool of control? The Queen felt her blood turn cold. How could this human know such details about her life? Information that was not recorded anywhere outside her home planet? Marcus Chen continued. You have ruled for 300 years by studying your enemies and finding their weaknesses. You learned that the Drekmori were proud and would fight individually rather than together. You discovered that the Velkans would sacrifice anything to protect their children. You found out that the Horatians valued honor more than victory. How do you know this? The Queen whispered. Because I do the same thing you do, Queen Vexithara. I study my enemies. The difference is I had time to study you before you got here. As he spoke, the small human fighter continued to move through her fleet. More of her ships exploded. Her perfect formation was becoming chaos. Her ships were firing at each other, trying to hit the human fighter and missing. You want to know why your tactics are not working? Marcus Chen asked. It is because I have been watching you for months. I know how Zephyrian fleets attack. I know how you think. I know what you will do before you do it. Queen Vexithara looked at her tactical display. Nearly half of her attack ships were gone. The human fighter was still moving, still destroying her vessels with shots that seemed impossible. This is not possible, she said. You are just one pilot in one small ship. You are correct, Marcus Chen replied. I am just one pilot, but I am a pilot who has fought the Korthak Swarm, the Andromedan Collective, the Regelian Starkillers, the Vegan Empire, and a dozen other species you have never heard of. Each time I learned something new. Each time I became better at understanding how alien minds work. The Queen watched as 3 more of her ships exploded. The human fighter had somehow positioned itself so that when her ships fired at it, they hit each other instead. You see, Queen Vexithara, humans have a gift. We adapt. When we meet a new challenge, we study it, we understand it, and we find a way to beat it. Every alien species that has attacked our system has taught me something new about alien warfare. You cannot defeat my entire empire with one fighter. I do not need to defeat your empire, Marcus Chen said calmly. I only need to defeat you. The human fighter suddenly changed direction. Instead of avoiding the Queen's flagship, it flew straight toward it. Every weapon on her ship fired at once, but the fighter moved in patterns that seemed to anticipate each shot. Impossible, General Kethvar breathed. It is like he can see the future. Not the future, the Queen realized. He can see us. He understands how we think, how we plan, how we fight. He knows what we will do because he knows who we are. The fighter came close enough that the Queen could see it clearly on her screen. It was damaged from the battle, but still flying. Still fighting. Last chance, Queen Vexithera. Marcus Chen's voice came through the speakers. Withdraw your fleet, or I will show you what humans do to conquerors who threaten our home. The Queen looked around her bridge. Half her attack fleet was destroyed. Her perfect battle plan was in ruins. Her crew was looking at her with fear and doubt, but she was Queen Vexithera. She had never retreated. She had never been defeated, never, she said. I will not be stopped by one human. Then you have made your choice, Marcus Chen replied. The human fighter suddenly accelerated toward her flagship. Every defense system activated, but the fighter moved like it knew exactly where the safe path was. It came close to her ship and fired a single missile. The missile was not aimed at her weapons or her engines. It was aimed at a small panel on the side of her ship, a panel that should have been protected by shields and armor. The missile hit, and suddenly every system on her ship began to shut down. Lights went out. Gravity failed. The main computer started displaying error messages. How? The Queen gasped as she floated in the darkness of her bridge. Marcus Chen's voice came through the emergency speakers. Every ship has weak points, Queen Vexithera. Every system has flaws. I have been studying your technology for 6 months. I know exactly where to hit you to cause maximum damage with minimal force. Emergency power came back online. The Queen pulled herself to a console and looked at the damage reports. Her ship was not destroyed, but it was completely helpless. All weapons offline, all shields down, engines barely functioning. You have a choice to make, Marcus Chen said. Order your fleet to withdraw, or I will show your empire what happened to all the other species that refused to leave our system alone. Queen Vexithara looked at her tactical display. The human fighter was now surrounded by the wreckage of half her fleet. One pilot, one small ship, and he had stopped the most powerful attack force in her empire. For the first time in 300 years, Queen Vexithara began to understand what fear felt like. Queen Vexithera floated in the dim emergency lighting of her damaged flagship. Around her, the bridge crew worked frantically to restore basic systems. But her mind was not on the repairs. She was thinking about the human pilot who had just destroyed half her fleet. My queen, General Kethvar said as he pulled himself through the zero gravity to her side. We have emergency power restored. Should we call for reinforcements from the main fleet? No, the Queen said quietly. First, I want to understand what just happened. She activated her personal computer and began searching through the data her fleet had collected about Marcus Chen. There had to be an explanation for what she had witnessed. No single pilot, no matter how skilled, should have been able to do what he had done. The files painted a picture that became more disturbing the deeper she looked. Marcus Chen was not just a pilot or a soldier. He was something much more dangerous. Computer, show me the complete record of alien attacks on the human system, she commanded. The first file was about the Korthak swarm. The Queen read through the human reports and compared them with information her own empire had about the Korthak. The humans described the swarm as billions of bioships controlled by a single Queen mind. This matched what the Queen knew about the Korthak, but then she read the details of how Marcus Chen had defeated them. He had not simply attacked the Queen ship. He had studied Korthak biology for weeks, learning how their hive mind worked. He had discovered that the Queen creature used a specific brainwave frequency to control the swarm. So he had built a device that created the exact opposite frequency. When his small ship reached the Queen, he had not destroyed her. Instead, he had used the device to cut her connection to the swarm. Billions of bioships had suddenly become mindless, floating in space like dead insects. Clever, the Queen admitted, but lucky. She opened the next file. The Andromedan Machine Collective. The Queen had heard of them. artificial intelligences that had destroyed several organic civilizations. They were known for their perfect logic and overwhelming computational power. Marcus Chen had defeated them by giving them an impossible problem to solve. He had transmitted a message to their central computer that contained a logical paradox. The machines had tried to process it, but the paradox had no solution. Their computers had created an infinite loop, trying to solve something that could not be solved. The entire collective had shut down, trying to answer one question that had no answer. "Not lucky," the Queen said. "Brilliant," she continued reading. The Rigelian star killers who could destroy planets with their gravity weapons. Marcus Chen had studied their technology and discovered that their weapons needed precise timing to work. He had used simple radio interference to disrupt their timing systems. Their own weapons had torn their ships apart. The Vegan Empire, whose warriors were considered unbeatable in single combat. Marcus Chen had challenged their greatest fighter to a duel, but instead of fighting with weapons, he had fought with words. He had spoken to the warrior in perfect vegan language about the warrior's family and home. The warrior had become so homesick that he had surrendered without a fight. "My queen," General Kethver said, "what are you reading?" "I am reading about the most dangerous human who has ever lived," she replied. She showed him the files. "This Marcus Chen is not just a soldier. He is a student of alien psychology. For 10 years he has been learning how different species think, how they fight, how they can be defeated. But my queen, he is still just one human." "No, General. He is much more than that. Look at this." She opened another file. It contained video footage of Marcus Chen studying captured alien technology. He was not just looking at the machines. He was talking to the aliens who had been captured with them, learning their languages, understanding their cultures. He learns from every species he encounters, the Queen explained. Every attack on the human system teaches him something new. He has fought more different alien species than any military commander in galactic history. The Queen found more files. Marcus Chen speaking perfect Korthak biolanguage. Marcus Chen understanding Andromedan computer code. Marcus Chen knowing the secret religious ceremonies of the Rigelians. How is this possible? General Kethvar asked. Because humans are different, the Queen said slowly. Most species, when they encounter something alien, they try to destroy it or avoid it. Humans study it. They learn from it. They adapt to it. She thought about her own empire. When the Zephyrians encountered a new species, they studied their military strength and found ways to defeat them. But they never tried to truly understand them. They conquered, but they did not learn. Marcus Chen did both. "My queen," came a voice from the communication station. "We are receiving another transmission from the human fighter." "Put it through." Marcus Chen's calm voice filled the bridge. "Queen Vexithera, I hope you have had time to think about my offer. Withdraw your fleet and this ends peacefully." The Queen activated her own communication system. "Major Chen, I have been reading about your previous encounters with alien species. You are more dangerous than I first believed. I prefer to think of myself as thorough. How did you know so much about my personal history? That information is not available anywhere outside my home world." Marcus Chen was quiet for a moment. Then he said, 3 months ago, a damaged Zephyrian scout ship was found drifting near the Centauri system. The pilot was barely alive, but we were able to save him. In exchange for medical treatment, he told us about your empire. The Queen felt her hands clench into fists. One of her own people had betrayed military secrets to this human. But that was not enough, Marcus Chen continued. So I learned to speak Zephyrian. I studied your history, your culture, your military tactics. I read every report about your conquests. I learned how you think. You learned my language in 3 months. Humans are good at learning languages. We have to be. We encounter so many different species. The Queen looked at her tactical display. Her remaining ships were holding position, waiting for her orders. She could still attack. She still had more ships than the humans could possibly fight. But now she understood what she was really facing. Marcus Chen was not just a pilot. He was the result of 10 years of human adaptation to alien threats. Every species that had attacked the human system had made him stronger, smarter, more dangerous. You want to know something interesting, Queen Vexthara? Marcus Chen asked. Every alien species that has fought humans has made the same mistake. They see us as weak because we are not as strong or as fast or as advanced as they are. But they miss our real strength, which is, we learn, we adapt. We become whatever we need to become to survive. Every alien attack teaches us something new about the galaxy. Every encounter makes us better at dealing with alien minds. The Queen thought about her 17 conquered worlds. On each one, her forces had faced the same pattern. Initial resistance, followed by defeat, followed by surrender. The conquered species always fought the same way they had always fought. But humans were different. Every time they faced a new threat, they became something new in response to it. They did not just fight alien invaders. They learned from them. "You have created something that should not exist," the Queen said. "A human who understands aliens better than aliens understand themselves." "I am not unique," Marcus Chen replied. "There are others like me in the Earth Defense Force. Humans who have spent years studying every species that might threaten our world. If you defeat me, you will face them. If you defeat them, you will face more." The Queen realized the terrible truth. The humans had not just prepared for war. They had prepared for every possible kind of war. They had made themselves ready to fight any alien species, no matter how strange or powerful. "What are you?" she asked. Marcus Chen's answer chilled her to the bone. "I am what happens when humans have time to think about you." Queen Vexthara stared at the tactical display showing her damaged fleet. Half her ships were destroyed. Her flagship was barely functioning, and somewhere out there, a single human fighter waited for her response. For 300 years, she had never faced a situation like this. Every other species had either surrendered quickly or fought until they were completely destroyed. No one had ever made her feel helpless. "My queen," General Kethavar said quietly. "What are your orders?" She could call for reinforcements. Her main fleet had over 1,000 ships. Even if this Marcus Chen was as dangerous as he seemed, surely he could not fight 1,000 ships at once. But as she thought about it, she realized that bringing more ships might not help. If Chen truly understood Zephyrian tactics as well as he claimed, then more ships would just give him more targets. He had already proven he could turn her own forces against each other. "My queen," her communications officer called out. "The human is transmitting again. Let me hear it." Marcus Chen's voice came through the speakers. This time he was not speaking to her directly. Instead, he was broadcasting on all frequencies, sending his message to every ship in her fleet, and he was speaking in perfect Zephyrian. "Warriors of the Zephyrian Empire," he said in their ancient language, "I greet you in the name of the human species. I know that you are brave soldiers who follow your queen because it is your duty. I respect your courage." Queen Vexthara felt her blood turn cold. He was speaking to her crews directly, using the formal speech patterns of Zephyrian military tradition. "But I want you to understand what you are truly fighting for," Marcus Chen continued. "Your queen has told you that conquering our system will bring glory to your empire. But I know your history. I know what happened to the last 17 species you conquered." On the bridge, several of her officers looked uncomfortable. They were hearing their own history spoken by an alien who somehow knew it better than they did. The Drakmori were proud warriors, like yourselves. After you conquered them, they were forced to work in your mines until they died. The Velkans were peaceful farmers. Your empire turned them into slave laborers. The Horatians valued honor above life. You made them fight each other for your entertainment. The Queen tried to cut off the transmission, but her communication systems were still damaged. She could only listen as Marcus Chen continued to speak to her crew. "I have studied your empire for months. I know about the rebellion on Vorten 7 that your queen crushed by destroying the planet's atmosphere. I know about the slave camps on Rigel 4 where conquered species work until they die. I know about the experiments your scientists perform on captured aliens. How does he know these things?" General Kethavar whispered. "Your queen has not told you why your empire really needs new conquests," Marcus Chen said. "It is not for glory. It is because your economy depends on slave labor. Without new slaves, your empire will collapse. You are not expanding to spread Zephyrian greatness. You are expanding because you have to." The Queen realized with horror that everything Marcus Chen was saying was true, and her crew was hearing it all. "But there is something else you should know," the human continued. "I am not the only one who has been studying your empire. Every major spacefaring civilization in this part of the galaxy knows about the Zephyrian Empire. They know about your slave camps. They know about your experiments. They are all waiting for someone to stop you." Marcus Chen paused, letting his words sink in. "If you attack our system, you will win some battles. You might even conquer our planet. But you will also prove to the entire galaxy that your empire is too dangerous to be allowed to exist. Every other species will unite against you. Your empire will face a war it cannot win. Queen Vexithara looked around her bridge. Her officers were listening intently. Some of them looked worried. Others looked confused. They had never heard their empire described this way. I offer you a different choice, Marcus Chen said. Return to your empire. Tell your people what you have learned about humanity. Tell them that we are not weak prey. We are a species that studies our enemies and learns from every encounter. Tell them that attacking us will cost more than it will gain. The transmission ended. The bridge was completely silent. My queen, one of her younger officers said carefully. Is what the human said true? About the other species waiting to fight us? Before the queen could answer, her strategic computer activated. It had been analyzing galactic communications while Chen spoke. Now it displayed a disturbing picture. Across the galaxy, other alien civilizations were indeed watching the battle. Some were sending messages of support to the humans. Others were moving their fleets into position, ready to act if the Zephyrian Empire proved too aggressive. The Queen realized that Marcus Chen had done something impossible. In the middle of a battle, he had changed the entire strategic situation. This was no longer just about conquering one human system. It was about the survival of her empire. My queen, General Kethavar said urgently. We are receiving communications from our homeworld. The Council of Lords is demanding to know why we have not yet conquered this system. Queen Vexithara activated the long-range communicator. The face of Lord Vorthak, head of the Zephyrian Council, appeared on her screen. Queen Vexithara, he said in an angry voice, our sensors show that half your attack fleet has been destroyed. How is this possible? The humans were supposed to be primitive. The situation is more complex than our intelligence suggested. The Queen replied carefully. Complex? You face a species with no space empire, no advanced weapons, no significant military force. How can it be complex? Before the Queen could answer, Marcus Chen's voice came through the communication system again. But this time he was speaking directly to Lord Vorthak. Lord Vorthak of the Zephyrian Council, he said in perfect formal Zephyrian. I am Major Marcus Chen of the Earth Defense Force. I believe we should talk. Lord Vorthak's face showed complete shock. How are you able to communicate on this frequency? How do you know our language? I know many things about your empire, Lord Vorthak. I know that your economy is failing. I know that 3 of your core worlds are on the edge of rebellion. I know that your military is stretched, too thin to handle a real war. The Queen watched as Marcus Chen systematically destroyed her empire's position without firing a single shot. I also know that you are a reasonable man who cares about his people's survival, Marcus Chen continued. So I will make you an offer. Withdraw your fleet from our system and we will share our knowledge with you. What knowledge? Lord Vorthak demanded. We have learned much from the alien species that have attacked us. Technologies, strategies, cultural insights that could help your empire prosper without needing slaves. We are willing to trade this knowledge for peace. Queen Vexithara realized what was happening. Marcus Chen was not just defeating her military forces. He was offering her empire something more valuable than conquest. A way to survive without endless war. Lord Vorthak, she said quickly, I recommend we accept the humans' offer. Accept? Lord Vorthak looked furious. We do not negotiate with inferior species. With respect, my lord, the Queen said. This species is not inferior. They are different, and that difference makes them dangerous. She looked out at the wreckage of her fleet, then at the small human fighter that had caused it all. They do not fight like other species. They study us. They learn from us. They adapt to us. If we continue this war, we will lose. Lord Vorthak was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke to Marcus Chen directly. Human, what exactly are you offering? Peace, Marcus Chen replied simply. Knowledge, and a chance for your empire to evolve beyond conquest. The Queen made her decision. She activated her fleet communications and spoke to all her remaining ships. All Zephyrian vessels, this is Queen Vexithara. By my authority as fleet commander, I order you to stand down and prepare for withdrawal from this system. My queen, General Kethavar said in surprise. Are you surrendering? No, General. I am learning, just like the humans do. She opened a communication channel to Marcus Chen. Major Chen, this is Queen Vexithara. I accept your offer of peace. But I want you to know something. Yes? You have taught me that there are different kinds of strength. Today you proved that sometimes the greatest victory is the one that ends without total destruction. Marcus Chen's response carried a note of respect that had not been there before. Thank you, Queen Vexthara. That is perhaps the most important lesson of all. As the Zephyrian fleet prepared to leave the Sol system, the Queen looked one last time at the small human fighter. One pilot, one ship, one name that had stopped an empire in its tracks. She had learned something today that would change her empire forever. Sometimes the strongest enemy is the one who chooses not to destroy you when they could. The Zephyrian Empire would survive, but it would never be the same again. And across the galaxy, other species would remember the day when a human named Marcus Chen proved that knowledge and understanding could be more powerful than any weapon.